Hey everybody, it's Greg Rice. We're here in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. We're at the Hope Artist Village today, and we're with a very special guest. For episode 40, I thought it was fitting to bring Mike Forte.
Appreciate you having me.
How you doing, bro?
Good, really good.
Is it Forte or Forte, or is it, how do you pronounce it?
It depends on who you talk to.
Okay.
If you were to ask my grandfather, which would be the source of it, it would be 40.
Okay.
But some paisans up on the hill or whoever you talk to would say that it was originally Forte. When the family came here, they did a little bit of
changed it a little
Americanization.
bit. Yeah.
But 40 to make it easy.
So what is your forte?
What is my forte?
What are you doing for Rhode Island, Massachusetts? What is your day-to-day?
My day-to-day, so Primetime Properties, we work with large portfolio investors.
Mm-hmm.
Some commercial, some residential, depends on which client. But basically the past year and a half, we've been fulfilling a lot of 1031 exchange.
Mm-hmm.
So we're piecing off multifamily properties for a lot of guys, and then once they sell, they have to buy back into different things. So, we're buying and selling commercial properties as well. So we've been doing a little bit of both. It's been great because I work directly with Frank Maelli, who
Shout out to Frank.
Shout out to Frank.
Frank's old school.
Very old school.
And it's not Frank Mealy. It's Maelli. Matt Bates taught me that.
Yeah, great guy. I know him through his daughter, who made the introduction. He's had his real estate license since he was 17. So a long time. He knows, very well connected up on the hill and
Yep.
in northern Rhode Island in particular. So, I've been able to partner with him. I'm lucky enough to have a pretty good network of my own here. So, we work really well together. We bounce ideas off each other and, hey, I got this portfolio that we can potentially sell. And he says, oh, I got the perfect guy for it.
Right. You can match that up.
Yeah. So it's been, the synergy is it's incredible. So, I like to think, my bread and butter is a little bit of the networking and I like meeting people out of places,
Yeah.
It's
organic.
It's organic. I like knowing a little bit about, I see somebody with a cool jacket on. It's like, oh, what's that guy about? Where'd he get that jacket?
Yeah.
What's his background? Who did he become? And then through that, whatever industry you're in, there's opportunity there.
Yep.
You never know who you're talking to. I was in Nashville a couple of weeks back, and I just bought a trucker hat before I went.
Nice.
I was all excited about a trucker hat.
With the hair or just the trucker hat?
No, just the trucker hat. Just the trucker hat. So I bought that before I went. I wanted, little country vibes a little bit. And I'm at this bar, and I see a group of kids like across the way, kind of like looking in my direction. And I'm saying to my buddy, I'm like, what are they looking at? What are they doing over there?
They want a problem?
They want a problem now. And one of the kids waves me down, and he's wearing a backwards hat. And he comes over and says, yo, turns his hat around. It's the same exact hat. So I started chatting with him. Come to find out, he owns a ton of property out, I think in Virginia maybe. But he's, big family farm. They produce a bunch of crop. And it's just really interesting meeting new people. And that's a good example of it. You never know who you're talking to, what they're about, who their family is, And I think if you're just like constantly open to that sort of communication, opportunity is always going to find you. And in real estate in particular, there's always opportunity. Everybody has some interest in real estate. And if you're open to that type of communication, you're going to do well in real estate. So It's been great.
And are you Rhode Island born and bred?
I am.
Really?
I am, yeah. I'm
Where
from
were you born?
Scituate.
Wow.
Scituate, yeah. So some people down in southern Rhode Island would say, what the hell is even Scituate?
Yeah.
I grew up there my whole life. It's a very small town in terms of community, but the town itself is pretty big because you have the reservoir there. It's the largest, I believe it's the largest body of water.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, in the state of Rhode Island. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But gorgeous.
Beautiful.
Gorgeous. 116 and the bridge, all the bridges that go over it. It's some of the most beautiful landscape that I've ever seen, frankly.
For sure.
I was just up in New Hampshire, and that's gorgeous in itself. But it makes you also realize, the
pristine.
beauty is here is
Right.
in Rhode Island as well. But yeah, it's a great community. I have a great group of friends that I grew up with that I'm still very close with.
Cool.
We do like a yearly trip, and we communicate every day. Teachers, I had great teachers there, and growing up in that type of environment made me focus. It helped me to focus on the smaller things, but also want to see more and do more, which led me to all the other opportunities that I've had in New York and greater Rhode Island and things of that such. But yeah, Situate's a great town. Great town.
And that's different from North Situate?
No, so North Situate is actually where I'm from. So there's
Okay.
Clayville, North Situate, and Hope.
Gotcha.
They're like three little sub communities within Situate.
But it's all Situate?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Because I used to intern at the Rhode Island State Police headquarters, and it is in North Situate.
Yes. Yeah.
And I remember just driving up there, and I lived in Providence at the time.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was just like, it's amazing how you can go from just Providence on top of you, tight, and then 10 minutes later you're in Johnson, which is like out of the fog, and then 10 minutes more pristine landscape.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's amazing how Rhode Island has so much, so
Oh, yeah.
compact.
Yeah. But
It's a blessing.
it is. It really is. When you're not from here, you don't really understand that. In New York City, for example, the whole general area is essentially the same. It's all
Right.
built up.
A 20-mile radius is all just
Just city.
city.
I mean, you have Long Island and stuff like that, but even that, I mean, most of the Strip is
It's developed.
it's developed. It's basically the same across the board. But Rhode Island, you can be in Providence. You go 20 minutes into Situate. You got all of the in between. 45 minutes, you're at the beach.
Right.
And then there's a difference between Newport beaches and Narragansett,
Right.
And the communities there. We have really the best of it all. Whatever we want to do.
Huge melting pot.
Yeah, we can shoot up to Boston in an hour. We can get
Sure.
to New York in sometimes 3.5, depending on how you drive.
Or train. You can take the
Yeah,
train.
you can take a train. You have up north that's close to it. We're in a great location. And I think sometimes people like to they're like, Rhode Island.
yeah.
If you're from here, they're like, I can't wait to get out of this place or something.
Where are you going?
Yeah, exactly. There's a reason people stick around. It's great people, great food.
So where do you see yourself in 5 years, 10 years?
Oh, in terms of location, I have no idea. I like to travel. I like to explore. I like to be in new places, and I don't like to just do the touristy things when I'm at said place.
Yeah.
I like to really dive into the culture, whether it's the food, meeting the people, and stuff like that. So, I have a couple cities that are on my radar that I would like to eventually be in for an extended period of time. Whether
What are those cities?
Austin, Texas. I love Austin, Texas. The energy there is incredible. It's Texas. It's free.
Yeah.
Yep. But it's also got this sort of like an east side of Providence type feel where it's young, it's hip, it's cool, it's new, incredible food, really cool bar scene. Everything's outside. They've got cornhole everywhere and people just walking throughout the streets, and everyone's really friendly. You got Lake Travis there, which is a blast.
You got Tito's. That's where Tito's is made.
Tito's is made there. Yeah, you can't go wrong. Great barbecue too. Incredible barbecue. So I'd like to get there eventually. Obviously, Florida's always appealing. In the process of getting my Florida real estate license, so that's probably where I'll be next for an extended period of time. But 5 to 10 years, I really don't know, and I'm happy with that.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, in terms of location,
Because that's a long ways away.
that's a long ways away.
I like to ask people because some are dead set on, I'm going to be doing this and don't get in my way. Other people like you are like, well, it's open.
Yeah,
And I think that's the best way to live.
I think so too, because things are always going to come up. There could be, a bunch of small things that knock you off your direction, and the next thing you know, you're in a totally different spot for good or for bad. Or it could be, something drastic that happens in your life that completely
For sure.
knocks you off, Again, good or bad, but you never really know. If you ask most people, in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, if they would imagine they'd be in the place they are, they're going to say no. They might be in the same industry and, might be still hanging out with the same friends or might be in the same location, but in general, they don't know how they got to where they were.
Right.
They just, if they're super successful, they worked hard and met people and stuff like that. I think you have to have a general plan and set goals for yourself and things like that. But you don't want to get into the nitty gritty because that's when you start really stressing.
Correct.
Which I think we all fall victim to. I definitely do.
Some ways.
Yeah. But I think a little bit of that stress is good. It kind of, it's like, it's like the bumpers at the bowling alley.
Keeps you in line.
Yeah. It kind of, it gets you closer to the bowling pins. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because if you don't have that urgency or that stress, you're just, every detour is, I'll go that way, I'll go that way. Then
exactly.
You're just
exactly. Then, exactly. It's, it's like when you get lost in a city. You could end up in a square and next thing you know, you're right back where you were. Right. But if you have a general idea, if you know to go north, you're going to end up north. All you have to do is ask a couple people.
True.
Get the verification, get the address, general sense of direction, and you'll get there.
So how about this? Tell the folks at home, what is your biggest flaw?
Oh, my biggest flaw? My laziness.
In what way?
General laziness, frankly. It's some days you're not really feeling it.
Yeah.
You'd rather just, in real estate, when you don't really have a boss, so to speak, and you don't have an office that you have to be in every day, it's easy to just pick up the phone and sit on the couch or,
click.
That's it. Exactly. So sometimes I fall victim into that.
Yeah, me too.
So yeah, that's like for the past of my working career, that's the one thing that I've been trying to hone in on the most. How can I be more effective and efficient at all times? Everyone's lazy to a certain extent.
Yeah, and you should be. I think if you overburn yourself, you're going to be, I've done that too. Last year, I burned myself out because there was nothing to do for fun. I couldn't go out anywhere.
Yeah.
I couldn't go to a show. I couldn't go to a vacation. So I just worked.
Yeah.
And it burned the hell out of me.
Yeah.
And I remember it was like September. I was like, I need to just be away.
Yeah.
So the laziness, I think, is the ebb and flow.
I agree.
If you hustle like you hustle and I hustle, chilling out once in a while is deserved.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
your body needs it mentally and physically.
Yeah. And, it's funny you say that because last night I was kind of thinking of where we could take this conversation and what we could end up talking about. And I think it might have been a similar thought to that, a general flaw or something like that. And I in my head, I thought of the laziness. And I actually thought of the same thing. It's like the buffer or the bumpers. Mm-hmm. Do you have to be a little lazy? Because you can make a ton of money, but what are you going to do with it? If what's the point of making that if you don't want to just settle down on the beach and drink a Corona or on a boat or travel with your family and things like that? What's the point? You don't want to just tire yourself out your entire life and the next thing you know, 90 years old, you're sitting in a chair and it's like you didn't do anything.
But I got all the money.
You got all the money. For what? You can't take it to the grave. You can give it to your family, of course. You need to be able to just chill out and enjoy yourself. During the pandemic when it was at the heat of it, at first I was all stressed out because you don't know what the hell is happening. Is the world ending? What am I doing? So the first couple of weeks of the really intense lockdown, I was trying to figure out what the hell I could do because I had just moved back from New York. So my life just changed.
Were you in New York when the lockdown happened? Is that why you moved?
So I actually my lease was up in February.
Okay.
And I had been considering going home for a long time, probably for a year.
And where did you live? Not to cut you off, in New York.
In New York?
Where?
I lived in a bunch of different places. I started off in Williamsburg.
Yep.
I was in Williamsburg for a little while. Then I moved to East Village, 12th and Ave A.
Yep.
One of the best locations in all of New York. You familiar with the city?
Yeah.
Really?
Me and my dad, we love New York.
Oh, yeah, it's the best, right?
But continue.
Yes. So I was in East Village for a little while. Then I was in Murray Hill, Kips Bay area, 30th and 1st. That was cool over there. There was a lot of young professionals and stuff, but was a little like too much, like the college type of energy over there. That's why I liked East Village. It was a little bit more grown up and quieter and stuff like professional and stuff like that. Then I went to Hoboken, which is basically college all over again. All New Jersey people, really cool energy over there. It's all like real young professionals that like have family in Jersey and they just commute like an hour to Jersey, hang out with their family. And then it's like young Jersey families that have like 1 or 2 kids. They're like still working in the city, plan to move to Jersey again eventually. I feel like a little bit of a minority when you're there. But it was cool. I lived with all Jersey kids. Yeah. So, which I've been around going to URI. It's mostly Jersey kids anyway. So I was used to that. So it wasn't too bad. But definitely East Village was the best out of it all. So yeah. So I was my lease was up in February, and that was right when COVID was like in China, and we had heard that this could be kind of bad. And I remember like the whole month of January, I'm like in the subway systems thinking to myself, like, I really don't know if I want to be here if a global pandemic hits. Like, if this comes to the city, what am I going to do? I don't have a car. I have to commute via train. Or, you know, I guess we get locked down. We weren't even thinking of a lockdown because...
Who's going to lock me down?
What the hell is a lockdown?
Shut down the stores?
Yeah, you're going to shut down stores, keep you in my house? Unheard of.
Beat it. Yeah,
right? So, I was basically like, you know what? I could just go back home. You know, COVID honestly had no... That was an interesting thought, but it wasn't really a big factor in my decision to go home. The decision to go home was that I've always wanted to do real estate full time. I have a great network. Let's finally take advantage of it. Changing locations, pandemic, you know, all this other stuff that happened so fast. It was like, wow, like, what am I doing? What's going on here? Like, this is such a drastic change. So I was hiking a lot. Sometimes with a couple of my friends, and sometimes I get out there by myself, and those are the best times because it wasn't you know, any super strenuous hikes. It was just
fresh air.
Yeah, it was just fresh air, and I'd find a little spot on a little you know, rock ledge that I would just sit at and just play a little bit of music, write my journal or something, and that helped me ground myself. Yeah, that first few months of COVID, I think, made me such a better person, just because I had so much time for reflection. Right. I think a lot of people can probably 100% agree with me on that. I think it can go 2 ways. You can either like really lose it, or you can really come to terms with who you are and what you're doing and
or make a change.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of people change careers. Jesse Mayo, actually, who opened our Nexus Worcester office, was working at Burton at the Rentham outlets. Okay. And he's, you know, early 40s, young family, and he's working at a retail shop. And he's like, you know what? They pay my benefits, steady hours, and he's on that ride for 10 years. And then COVID hit, and they said, hey, we got to lay some people off because the store's not open. And he said, you know what? I'm going to open my own Nexus in Worcester.
Good for him.
So that, to your point, was, you know, an example I know of somebody that said, let me capitalize on this downtime. Yeah. Instead of vegging out and just Netflix and chill all the time, which I know. I look at some people, I'm like, how is it 20 pounds that you gained? Damn.
You always have to make light of a shitty situation.
For sure.
You have to. If you don't, you're going to get crushed because there's bad shit in this world. End of story. You know, there really is. People kill, people steal. Now we know viruses can kill us. Right. You know, so it's like, if you don't see the good in it and just
stay on it.
Just like go after it, you're gonna get crushed. You know, you have to keep in high spirits. I think optimism is something that not everyone has it, and the people that do have it will always succeed because there's always opportunity to be found. You know, when there's a death in the family, or you lose your dog, or you even have your car stolen or something, there's an opportunity there. There's an opportunity to get a new car. There's an opportunity to get closer to your family members after a death, you know. there's always like a light at the end of the tunnel,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's just so important to be around. You really have to understand it and see how it is, and just go with the flow.
I know some people that every day it's cloudy, every day it's raining, every day it's just like
Plenty of those people.
it like, to me, I'm an optimist. I'm like a maximist too. Like, I'm always looking at what's the most I can squeeze out of this orange and get all the juice. And there's other people that know it's like you hang out with them and it's like, it like it burns me out. It's
seriously.
like I'm just hanging out and this is supposed to be a good moment.
Yeah.
So it could be toxic. And my boss, Nick, is an optimist too. My boss, Nick, great guy, taught me a lot. He's kind of like the way Frank is to you. He's been in the game. He knows Rhode Island. People know him. And he's just like always looking for the positivity.
Yeah.
And that rubbed off on me.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't like optimist or pessimist. I was just like, whatever happens.
Yeah.
But now I'm more the other way. Now I'm like, there's always positivity.
Yeah.
And I like to surround myself with those people.
Of course.
Especially your who's in your circle, like your network, your insurance people, your lawyers, your home inspectors. You got to keep those people on your same wavelength too.
I agree.
So do you have a network that you've built out for all these types of odds and ends for clients?
I'm getting there. I'm reasonably new to the business. I'm pretty new to the business. I see the value in, working with the older guys.
Yep.
The guys and gals that have been doing it a long time, but I also see the value in building a rock star team
from scratch.
Young, hungry professionals. Notable name Jared Paulsino. You're my homie. He's phenomenal.
And tell us about Jared.
Jared. So I met Jared at URI. He was in my fraternity with me.
What fraternity?
Pi Kappa Alpha. Bunch of goofballs. We had a good time. Jared's a couple of years younger than me. I did my stunt in New York for a couple of years, and then, right when I got back is when he got out of school and was like starting to figure out what he wanted to do. He became a mortgage lender right away. I don't even know how we had that first conversation, but I was like, let's do it. Let's take over. Let's start building a business. And he hustles. So professional, holds himself so well, dresses well. He's got it going on. So if you need a young and hungry kid, Jared Paulsino with Main Street Home Loans.
We'll throw up his photo on the screen here while we're talking about him so the folks can see it.
Perfect.
Jared.
Yeah, Jared's great. We got a bunch of other notable names. There's a bunch of them that I've been working with, getting close with. Still trying to hone in that group because I value that group just as much as I value myself because it's a reflection on one each other. If I send my client to X, law firm or mortgage lender and they drop the ball for whatever reason,
people look to you.
Yeah. Mike's
hanging out with deadbeats.
Mike's supposed to be so good. Yeah, exactly. Why is he introducing me to them? So, I value that really heavy. Like I said, still working on figuring out who that group is,
Good. People at home, if they want to call you, what should they call you about and what should they not call you about? For example, I tell folks, don't call me to manage your house if you live there. That's one thing I don't do.
Gotcha.
If the owner lives on site, So tell us what they should call you for and what they shouldn't.
See, I don't know if this is a cop out, but I would say there's not much to not call me about.
Okay.
I really would say that.
You set the record straight because some people say, oh, I only do, owner occupied or residential single family. I only do investment houses. So you're saying commercial, residential, industrial, I don't care.
You name it. You could live in Alaska if you want to give me a call. If you're looking to buy property in Rhode Island, I'll absolutely help you, whether it's residential, commercial, you name it.
Yeah.
If you live in Alaska and you're looking to buy property in Alaska, I'll figure out who the best contact person is for you. Just give me a call. I can answer the questions, at least steer you in the right direction. Definitely call me about investment opportunities if you have questions about maybe how to house hack or do a BRRRR, stuff like that. And in the commercial property too, I think a lot of these young investors should look more towards the commercial investments, because everybody's so excited about the house hack, obviously, right? A lot of these FHA people, and that's why the market is so crazy.
Right.
There's a lot of opportunity in commercial. The number one thing Frank always told me is money is everywhere. Money is everywhere. You can find money. If you have the opportunity, you can get money for it. Maybe it's somebody already in your network. Maybe you have to do a little bit of cold calling, whatever it is, but you can find money. So yeah, getting into a house hack at 3.5% down is great, right? Like you only have to come out of pocket a little bit.
It's not the only thing in the world.
It's not the only thing in the world. Commercial, you can make a ton of money. Yeah, you technically have to put more money down, but you can fund and piece together that down payment for a commercial property.
Get a line here, a loan here, equity here.
Exactly. You can piece it together, and next thing you know, you're in, 20, 30,000 square foot building. So there's opportunity everywhere. So give me a call. I can help you, figure out which avenues are best to navigate.
And your phone number.
401-300-1353.
And your email.
It's got a good ring to it. Mike40realty@gmail.com. See, my name, the one thing that is tough about my name is giving my email address. Because a lot of people put numbers in their email address. So a lot of times
people, Mike 40.
So yeah. So honestly, sometimes my grandfather can't know this, but sometimes I'll say Mike Forte realty@gmail.com, just to make it a little bit easier for whoever's on the receiving end of that phone call.
So Mike, again, your email is not Mike40, it's Mike Forte.
Yes, first, last, realty@gmail.com.
Cool, man. And 7 days a week?
7 days a week. 7 days a week. I may be sleeping if you call me at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Maybe not.
I'm not going to be the one to say I'm going to pick up at all times of the night. I'll probably return your call in the morning, but that'll be first thing. So
cool, man.
I'm always reachable.
And I didn't ask you, I forgot, your favorite restaurant in Rhode Island is?
Ooh. That's a big question. I don't necessarily have an answer to that.
All right.
Lately, it has been Andino's, so shout out to the Andino's guy.
Good choice.
Guys, the food over there is phenomenal. But
the bread is good. I mean, everything's good.
Yeah. I've been spending a lot of time over there lately. But favorite restaurant, that's so tough. But I'll give it to those guys today. Greg, appreciate it, brother.
Thank you very much. If you have any questions for me, I don't know if you would, throw them in the comments section below. I'll get right back to you. Once again, Greg Rice from Nexus Property Management and Mike 40 for episode 40.
Great.
Your property
appreciate it.
Managed.